Assalamu alaikum. Hi everybody, my name is Khadijah. Welcome to my channel. I do hope you like it. This is probably take number 10 on my introduction, but we're getting there. So what I'd like to do today, please excuse that is my darling daughter. Now it's taken me 3 takes already, so I'm just going to have her running around in my background. Hey baby girl. So my journey through to Islam, that's what I'd like to start on my first video. What have you got there, baby? Ah, she's showing us a pink ball. Thank you, baby. Okay, so Tanya. Very good. Yes, that's a bike, sweetheart. Well done. So, oh my goodness. Woo! Okay, so now I'm an Australian, as you can probably tell by my accent. I was born in a Christian family. Now I'm probably, I'm not going to tell you my age, that was very close, but I can tell you that if you look very closely to my eyes, you might be able to get my age bracket. But if I lift my eyebrows up like this, look, they go. Now, it wasn't probably until I think when I got to about 13 years of age, because I just started high school. My high school friend, she was a Christian and she did go to Sunday school and church. Now, it was through her that I guess you can say that I really did start my journey to find God, alhamdulillah. And I went with her a couple of times to church. And I went once with her to the Sunday school, and I really quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fellowship, and I enjoyed finding out who was God. And I think that was really my starting point of wanting to find my religion, I guess you can say. Okay, so bouncing through my years, so I've gone to my Sunday schools and I've gone to church, and I ended up doing that quite a lot on my own accord. And then it got to I think when I was about 16. Now my natural father, he left my sister and I, subhanallah, when we were young, but we did reconnect later on in life. And I found that he was a Jehovah's Witness, which was okay because I myself believed in God. Now, I did go and stay with him, and that was when I first studied to become a Jehovah's Witness. And that was, I think, that was my next stage. It was my next stage in finding Islam. So during my studies of becoming a Jehovah's Witness, I started to see some flaws, seeing things that didn't seem right. And I think a lot of people who are searching for their religion and who do go into different branches of religion, they do start to feel that sense of not belonging and not feeling at home. And that's what I started to feel studying as a Jehovah's Witness. A lot of hypocrisy and a lot of things just didn't make sense. But that was okay. I still continued and I still pursued it. And then I started to see things that I actually didn't believe in. And one of the things that in Jehovah's Witnesses is that they don't believe in donating blood. If somebody, or donating a part of you if somebody is critically ill and needs it to save their life. So they don't believe in transplants, and they don't believe in blood transfusions. And I'm thinking, well, hang on. If God created us, and if God created us to have the ability for science to be able to do such thing, why are we stopping ourselves? You know, so to me, even now looking back on it, to me it kind of seems like suicide. Like if you're not going to take a Panadol to help you with your headache, that's just ludicrous to me. It just did not make sense. So then I thought, yeah, no, this is not for me. Things just are not meeting up. You know, so I think my father said, thank you very much, but Jehovah's Witness is not my religion. So I continued my journey. So streaming through my life, I then started to look at other different religions because a lot of things was happening to me from the age of 19 until about 30. I was very unsettled in my life and very unhappy. Nothing seemed to be right or going right, excuse me, for me. And I wanted answers. And I found myself, I never went to drugs, never went to alcohol, I never smoked. But I was just at a point of my life where I thought there's got to be something. What is happening in my life? Why am I doing this? And I just was not happy in life. Now, it was because of this stage in my life that I started to become very, withdrew a lot from everybody, and I focused solely on my family, and I always put my family first. I never thought of them. So I guess you can say that I put my family on hold and I put my search on hold as well. Then everything was really rocky in my previous marriage. Yes, I was married before. Um, I really was not happy, and I started to resent a lot of things, and I started to find a way out. Um, and then it wasn't until it was about 6 years ago when something just cracked in me, and I said, "That's enough. I'm done. I'm done with my marriage. I'm done with all of this." Um, and I just got up and I just walked out. So things in tow, I packed up and I left, and I decided to start to take control of my own life. And it was then that all these things kept coming up about September 11. And it had already happened, obviously, years prior, but these things coming up on my Facebook, and I started to read into it, and I was like, hang on a second, what's a Muslim? What's Islam, so to speak? And it was with that I then started to do my search, and I started to look into it, and alhamdulillah, I started to see myself. I started to see my reasoning. Now, I didn't know anything about Islam. And I actually, to be honest with you, I thought Islam was a country. And I think that's what a lot of Western people do believe or think, or the ones that don't have any knowledge at all. Um, and then I got my first book, and it said all about Islam. Now, it was a documentary book, and it just showed all the different cultures. I suppose you could say, I don't like using culture within Islam, but it showed all the practices. That's the word I'm looking for. All the different practices, and why a Muslim would do this and why a Muslim would do that. And I thought, I love that. Now, I didn't know anything about Islam. And I actually, to be honest with you, I thought Islam was a country. And I think that's what a lot of Western people do believe or think, or the ones that don't have any knowledge at all. Um, and then I got my first book, and it said all about Islam. Now, it was a documentary book, and it just showed all the different cultures. I suppose you could say, I don't like using culture within Islam, but it showed all the practices. That's the word I'm looking for. All the different practices, and why a Muslim would do this and why a Muslim would do that. And I thought, I love that. But more importantly, and trying to be a little bit serious, is I I believed in the morals and values of Islam. And when I looked at it and seen what it is to be a Muslim, about guarding yourself, covering yourself, protecting what's on the inside, I thought, that's me, and it's like somebody wrote a book about me. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt. And I just kept reading on and on and on. The morals, the values, the unity within the religion, the importance of family, the importance of knowledge, reading. Oh, alhamdulillah. And then I started to get into the more serious stuff. And that was, how the segregation between men and women. At first, I couldn't understand that. I really couldn't understand. I thought, that's not right. It's not fair that women need to be segregated like that. So I did. I'll be honest there. I did put that aside. But I did pick up that subject later on. And obviously now I am in total agreement with it. But I thought that that was an important fact to bring up, because not everything comes to you straight away. You don't agree with everything straight away. You need to understand it, you need to learn about it, and then form an opinion on it. And once you got that knowledge, so once I started to believe in what I was reading, because it is really important to believe what you read, and it's like a good book. You know, once you sit down and you start reading and you can't get your head up, and you know, and you want to skip to the last page to see what happens. It's important to feel that when you're going through your journey of Islam, and that's what I was feeling at that time. And that's when I knew, hang on, I think I found it. Alhamdulillah, I found Islam, and I wondered, is this really for me? Is this my religion? Is this something that I've been looking for so long? And then I lay down and I had a dream. So my dream was, for me, a confirmation of all that I was reading and all of my concerns. And I really think that it is important that I share my dream with you. And I'll try and not go too much into detail, because it is pretty long. But it is important, because sometimes people feel things differently and they wonder, am I different, or is it all in my head? But I wanted to share it with you because it shows the great effect, the shift change in my life, that pushed me towards taking my Shahada. So my dream was this. I was standing in a field of grass. The grass came up to my knees. I know it was me, but I couldn't see myself. I just saw looking out in front of me, and the grass was this beautiful, beautiful green color. I have never seen a green like it, and it kind of swayed as the wind was blowing. It was swaying like this, and off in a distance, I could see a really large green grassed mountain. It was very steep, very tall, and it was very wide as well. And it was, subhanAllah, it was the most beautiful hill that I had ever seen. Now, on top of this hill, there was this tree. And this tree had these branches. It was like a big oak tree. And the branches stemmed from one side of the mountain to the other. So I started to walk through the grass and started to head to the hill. And it was my curiosity that made me want to go to this hill. And I wanted to go up and see what this tree was all about, because this tree was huge. Now, when I approached the hill, I could see that the hill was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, steeper and steeper and steeper. And I thought in my dream, I'm not going to be able to climb this. There is no way. But I took that first step, and with that first step came the second step and the third step. And I remember within this dream, I said to myself, I'm doing it. I'm actually climbing the hill. So once I made it to the top of this mountain, I looked up and I could see the branches that they were covering me, but they were at a height. And I tried to reach for them, but I knew I couldn't get them, but I was content with that. And I looked over to my right where the tree trunk was, and sitting down on the floor, on the grass, leaning up against the tree was this little boy. And I thought, what's he doing here? So the curiosity of me walked over to this little boy. So I've walked over to the boy and I've looked down at him and I said, hello. And he didn't respond. I said, hello. And he still didn't respond. And he was holding a piece of bark from the tree, like a really big chunk of bark. And he had it turned so that it was kind of like a bowl. Now, what he was doing is with his finger. Now, it was his right finger. I don't know if that's important, but us as Muslims, we do everything with our right, yeah? He was writing in this bark. And he didn't have a pencil. He was writing with his finger. And then I got down on my knees. almost kind of like in a subdued position, but crouched, you know, like with my arms like this on the ground. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he put his head up. I can't see his face, but I know he put his head up. And I said, "What are you writing?" And he flipped it over so that I could see what he was writing. And no word of a lie, subhanallah, it said Allah. So I woke up from this dream and I was in a sweat. I was sweating everywhere. Now, I don't sweat. And I was puffing and I was panting and I was like, what was that? And it dawned on me. It dawned on me that Islam was my religion, that I had made it home. And this is what I had been searching for all this time. This is what I needed in my life. And alhamdulillah, I then went looking for a Muslim. I went looking for somebody to help me, to show me more. And I found a group of people. And then it was 5 years ago now that I took my Shahada, alhamdulillah. And I loved every bit of it. That's what Islam's taught me. And now I'm living really, really happy. I'm scarved. I only started covering about 3 years ago now, alhamdulillah, and obviously I would never take it off. Sometimes I feel like just walking around the house with it on. But look, I'm going to leave it there for now because there's so many different angles you can come in on this. But I really think it's important that I shared my story with you. Now, I really want to reach out. I want to reach out to anybody, anybody really, but I'd like very much if anybody who is looking like I did, trying to find answers in life and wondering, is Islam for me, to please leave any comments down below or questions. Ask me a question and I'm inshallah I'm really, really happy to answer them for you. Yes, darling. Oh, that's beautiful. And if you are a revert, most definitely, please hit the subscribe and like button. I think that's really, really important for reverts as well, and people who want to find some answers as well. Maybe I might be able to help you along the way. Also, if you're a born Muslim, please follow me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to take you along my journey and show you all the things that I'm learning and doing. It will be great to have you along, and it'll be great to have your input as well, because obviously you're a born Muslim and you obviously may know more than me, alhamdulillah. But so yeah, so I really do hope that you guys liked my video, my revert story. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and that's if you really want to. But I'll catch you all later. Assalamu alaikum. This is Khadijah. Thank you guys. Bye bye.